Your favorite luxury handbag brand is collapsing, and you probably helped cause it. After years of doubling prices while cutting quality, some of the world's most iconic fashion houses are watching their empires crumble as customers finally say enough is enough. Between 2019 and 2024, brands like Chanel raised prices by 76%, Prada by 111%, and Louis Vuitton by 100% on signature styles. And now they're paying the price with plummeting sales, leadership chaos, and billions in lost market value. Here are the 13 luxury handbag brands struggling right now after years of overpricing and the brutal reality they're facing. 1. Gucci. Gucci's collapse has been spectacular and brutal. The numbers tell a devastating story that should terrify every luxury executive. Revenue plummeted 24% in the first quarter of 2025 to 1.6 billion euros, extending a decline that began in 2023 and has only accelerated. For the full year 2024, Gucci saw revenue crash 23% to 7.65 billion euros, with operating income slashed by a staggering 51%. This isn't a minor correction. This is a brand in free fall. Beyond creative direction, Gucci faces structural problems. The brand aggressively expanded its wholesale distribution, diluting exclusivity leather goods, which represent 50% of Gucci's turnover, have been criticized as underwhelming and lacking standout products to attract consumers back into stores. When your core product category fails to excite, no amount of marketing can compensate. The brand that once defined aspirational luxury for an entire generation has lost its way, and finding it again will require more than just another creative director reshuffle. 2. Balenciaga. Balenciaga's struggles represent what happens when you push provocation too far and consumers finally get tired of paying $2,000 for ironic fashion statements. Once celebrated for Demna's boundary-pushing designs that redefined luxury streetwear, the brand has suffered from a toxic combination of consumer fatigue and reputational damage. Part of Kering's other houses division, which saw revenue decline 11% in the first quarter of 2025, Balenciaga has been particularly hard hit by changing consumer attitudes toward what luxury should represent. Despite Kering's public confidence in Demna and CEO Cedric Charbit citing the sellout success of the rodeo bag, the fundamental question remains: has Balenciaga's provocative, ironic approach to luxury reached its expiration date? In a market increasingly valuing timeless design and genuine craftsmanship over shock value and social media moments, Balenciaga's path forward looks uncertain. The brand that once made destruction look desirable now looks destructive to its own future. 3. Saint Laurent, YSL. Saint Laurent's fall from grace is particularly shocking because this brand was supposed to be Kering's reliable performer, the steady growth engine that balanced out riskier brands in the portfolio. Instead, YSL posted a 9% revenue decline in the first quarter of 2025 to 679 million euros, continuing a downward trajectory that accelerated through 2024. For a brand that had been performing strongly for years, generating consistent growth and maintaining cool factor, this reversal signals something fundamentally broken in the upper contemporary luxury segment. Additionally, Saint Laurent hasn't been immune to the quality concerns plaguing many luxury brands. Social media is filled with complaints about leather quality, hardware tarnishing, and construction issues that don't align with price points often exceeding $3,000. When customers pay luxury prices, they expect luxury quality, and increasingly, they're not getting it. The brand built on Yves Saint Laurent's legacy of making women feel powerful and sexy now struggles to make them feel the price is justified. 4. Alexander McQueen. Alexander McQueen is drowning in what Kering euphemistically calls a transition currently underway, corporate speak for "we have no idea what to do with this brand." The creative director musical chairs following Sarah Burton's departure after 27 years has left the brand rudderless at the worst possible time. Her successor, Sean McGirr, faces the impossible task of defining McQueen's identity for a new era while maintaining the brand's DNA, all while the luxury market implodes around him. The transition Kering references likely involves soul-searching about whether Alexander McQueen should pursue growth and accessibility or double down on exclusivity and artistic credibility. Neither path is easy, and the wrong choice could permanently damage a storied brand that honors one of fashion's most talented and tragic figures. The late Alexander McQueen created unforgettable boundary-pushing art on the runway, but translating that into commercially successful handbags has proven brutally difficult. 5. Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton on a struggling brands list feels almost blasphemous, but the warning signs are impossible to ignore. While LVMH reported that its fashion and leather goods category saw revenue of €9.2 billion in the third quarter of 2024, this represented a troubling decline from €10.3 billion in Q2 and €10.5 billion in Q1, a consistent downward trend that suggests this isn't a temporary blip. When the world's most valuable luxury brand shows consecutive quarterly declines, the entire industry should be terrified. This oversaturation has diminished the brand's desirability among the fashion-conscious consumers who drive trends and create buzz. These influencers and tastemakers increasingly view Louis Vuitton as basic or played out, preferring either quieter luxury options or more distinctive pieces from emerging designers. When the cool kids abandon a brand, mass market appeal alone won't sustain premium pricing. Louis Vuitton also faces criticism about innovation. While the brand continues producing variations on its classic designs and launching collaborations, critics argue that much of the output feels derivative rather than truly groundbreaking. In an era when consumers have infinite options and limited patience for boring luxury, even a powerhouse like LV must continually prove its relevance, and that's becoming harder to do. 6. Chanel. Chanel's inclusion here will enrage devotees who insist the brand remains untouchable, but the aggressive pricing strategy and mounting quality concerns suggest trouble ahead. The medium classic flap, priced at $5,800 in 2019, now costs $10,200, a 76% increase that's made even the most devoted Chanel collectors question their loyalty. While Chanel has successfully positioned itself alongside Hermès in the ultra-luxury stratosphere, this success comes with dangerous risks that could undermine decades of brand building. The generational question looms large for Chanel. The brand has priced itself beyond most millennials and Gen Z consumers, who view spending $10,000 on a bag as absurd when they're dealing with student loans, high housing costs, and economic uncertainty. These younger consumers are instead gravitating toward brands offering better perceived value or investing in more sustainable, ethical alternatives. If Chanel loses an entire generation, its future becomes considerably less certain. The brand built by Coco Chanel to liberate women now feels like it's imprisoning them with unsustainable pricing and artificial scarcity that breeds frustration rather than desire. 7th Coach. Coach represents the quintessential American accessible luxury nightmare, a brand trapped in no man's land between mass market and true luxury, unable to move in either direction without alienating someone. While parent company Tapestry reported that Coach sales were flat in the third quarter of fiscal 2024, calling this stability is delusional. Flat sales during a period of inflation means declining sales in real terms. And for a brand that desperately needs growth to justify its positioning, flat is the new falling. The brand's efforts to reinvent itself through design innovation and marketing investments have shown limited success. While certain styles gain traction temporarily, Coach hasn't created a must-have bag that transcends trends and becomes a true fashion icon. Without that breakthrough product, the brand remains stuck in neutral, unable to generate the excitement necessary to drive growth. The Coach brand, once synonymous with American craftsmanship and accessible luxury, now feels like a cautionary tale about the dangers of overexpansion and losing sight of what made you special in the first place. 8. Kate Spade. Kate Spade's decline is heartbreaking because this brand once had a crystal-clear identity and a devoted following that genuinely loved what it stood for. Under Tapestry ownership, Kate Spade posted a 6% revenue decline in both the third and fourth quarters of fiscal 2024, continuing a multi-year downward trend that accelerated dramatically through 2023. The brand that once made women feel colorful, playful, and optimistic now feels like a hollow corporate shell going through the motions. Younger consumers who might have been drawn to Kate Spade's playful aesthetic increasingly prefer either minimalist contemporary brands or buying vintage and second-hand luxury pieces from more prestigious labels. They see Kate Spade as their mother's brand, and not in a good heritage fashion way. Meanwhile, existing Kate Spade customers feel the brand has lost its soul, complaining that new designs lack the creativity and quality of earlier eras. When you've alienated both your existing customers and the next generation you need to attract, recovery becomes exponentially harder. The tragic death of founder Kate Spade in 2018 marked not just the loss of a visionary designer, but seemed to symbolize the end of the brand's magic. 9. Michael Kors. Michael Kors has become the poster child for what happens when you prioritize growth over brand integrity, and the numbers are absolutely brutal. Revenue declined 14.2% year over year, according to recent earnings from parent company Capri Holdings. But the most damning indictment came from Michael Kors himself, who admitted during FTC testimony that his handbags have reached a point of brand fatigue, a remarkably candid acknowledgement that his brand has become boring, overexposed, and irrelevant. Brand fatigue stems from Michael Kors's aggressive growth strategy during the 2010s. The brand expanded rapidly into wholesale channels, department stores, outlets, and flash sale sites, making MK handbags available everywhere at varying price points. While this drove impressive short-term revenue growth, it destroyed brand prestige. When customers can buy Michael Kors at TJ Maxx or see heavy discounts regularly at Macy's, they stop viewing it as luxury and stop being willing to pay full price. The democratization of the brand killed what made it desirable in the first place. 10. Stuart Weitzman. Stuart Weitzman's collapse has been swift and merciless, with revenue dropping 18% in the third quarter of fiscal 2024 and 19% in the fourth quarter. While primarily known for footwear rather than handbags, Stuart Weitzman's struggles illustrate the brutal reality facing luxury accessories brands that can't articulate why consumers should care about them. The brand faces what Tapestry leadership euphemistically calls headwinds in its two key markets of North America and Greater China. Corporates speak for "nobody wants to buy our products anymore." The brand's connection to Tapestry also raises questions. Unlike Coach and Kate Spade, which have rich American heritage stories, Stuart Weitzman feels like an orphaned acquisition that never quite fit the portfolio. The synergies that made the acquisition seem smart on paper haven't materialized in practice. Stuart Weitzman needs significant investment in design, marketing, and retail experience to compete effectively. But as the smallest brand in Tapestry's portfolio, it's unclear whether it will receive the resources needed to turn around. The brand risks becoming a footnote in luxury fashion history, a cautionary tale about what happens when you rest on past success without continuous innovation. 11. Burberry. Burberry's decline has been precipitous and painful to watch. The British heritage brand reported a devastating 22% revenue decline in the first half of fiscal 2025, with retail revenue dropping to £1.08 billion from £1.39 billion in the same period the previous year. The brand posted an operating loss of £53 million, a shocking reversal from the £223 million operating profit in the first half of fiscal 2024. When a 168-year-old brand with impeccable heritage credentials posts its first operating loss in years, something has gone catastrophically wrong. Leadership changes have added to the chaos. CEO Joshua Schulman, who joined in July 2024, replaced Jonathan Akeroyd and immediately launched a turnaround strategy called Burberry Forward. The plan pivots back to the brand's heritage roots, outerwear, scarves, and British identity, after what Schulman admits was moving too far from our core DNA. But turnarounds take years, and in luxury fashion, credibility once lost is brutally hard to recover. Burberry's challenge is convincing consumers that a brand experiencing such visible struggles still deserves premium pricing and luxury positioning. The answer to that question remains very much in doubt. 12. Prada. Prada's inclusion might surprise some, as the Italian house maintains considerable prestige and influence. However, the brand has experienced concerning sales pressures and faces the same overpricing backlash hitting the industry. Prada's Galleria Saffiano bag saw a staggering 111% price increase between 2019 and 2024. The highest increase among major luxury brands, and one that has alienated even devoted customers who once saw Prada as intellectual luxury for the discerning consumer. Prada faces intense competition from within its own family. Miu Miu, Prada's younger sister brand, has experienced explosive growth and captured the zeitgeist with its irreverent, youthful aesthetic. When your own secondary brand is outperforming and generating more buzz than your flagship, it raises uncomfortable questions about brand strategy and positioning. Prada risks becoming the brand consumers graduate from, rather than aspire to, which would be devastating for a house with such rich heritage and design credibility. The 111% price increase on signature styles feels less like strategic positioning and more like desperation to maintain margins as volume declines. 13. Dior. Closing out our list is Dior, another brand where mentioning struggles feels almost heretical, given its storied heritage and current prominence. Yet Dior faces significant headwinds as part of LVMH's fashion and leather goods division, which has shown consecutive quarterly revenue declines. While Dior maintains strong brand cachet and celebrity connections, the brand's aggressive expansion and pricing strategy mirror mistakes made by others on this list. Dior's omnipresence also works against it. The brand's logo appears everywhere, on clothing, bags, accessories, beauty products, jewelry. This saturation, while driving revenue in the short term, risks the same ubiquity problem plaguing Louis Vuitton. When Dior's saddlebags and book totes appear on every fashion influencer's Instagram feed, the exclusivity that justifies luxury pricing evaporates. The brand that Christian Dior founded to make women feel like princesses now risks making them feel like everyone else at the shopping mall. Maintaining mystique and desirability while pursuing aggressive growth targets proves nearly impossible, and Dior is discovering this the hard way. The brands defying the decline. While many luxury brands are declining, a select few are thriving by doing everything their struggling competitors no longer do, maintaining real quality, protecting their exclusivity, and respecting their customers. Hermès stands as the clearest example, growing 15% to €15.2 billion in 2024. And posting an 18% surge in fourth-quarter sales despite a broader luxury downturn. Its strength lies in genuine scarcity, multi-generational craftsmanship, and pricing that reflects true quality rather than marketing theatrics, with each bag taking 18 to 24 hours to create, and Birkins and Kellys regularly appreciating on the resale market, sometimes doubling or tripling their retail price. Hermès has built a business model where customers feel they're acquiring an asset, not just a bag. This exceptional value proposition stands in stark contrast to brands that raise prices without delivering equivalent craftsmanship. Bottega Veneta represents the second major success story, and its rise is even more notable given that it shares a parent company with 4 struggling Kering brands. While Gucci, Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, and Alexander McQueen all declined, Bottega posted 10% growth and saw handbag orders jump 76% on first dibs in 2024. Its quiet luxury identity, grounded in intrecciato weaving, minimal branding, consistent craftsmanship, and steady creative direction, resonates with consumers who find logo-heavy designs outdated and desperate. Instead of chasing trends, Bottega Veneta focuses on timeless, impeccably crafted pieces and respects its customers with measured price increases. Together, Hermès and Bottega reveal a hard truth. The brands winning today are the ones that never compromise their identity, craftsmanship, or customer trust, while the 13 struggling brands faltered the moment they treated luxury as a marketing strategy rather than an art form. What we're witnessing isn't the death of luxury, it's an overdue correction that should have happened years ago. Brands that thought they could raise prices indefinitely while cutting corners on quality are discovering that customers eventually notice and respond by closing their wallets. Brands that oversaturated the market are learning that omnipresence and exclusivity are mutually exclusive. Brands that lost their creative vision are finding that no amount of marketing can compensate for uninspiring products. For consumers, this is ultimately positive. The market correction forces brands to compete on merit, design, quality, innovation, rather than just heritage and hype. As the dust settles, the luxury handbag landscape will likely be healthier, more innovative, and more respectful of the customers who make it all possible. Tell me in the comments, which of the 13 bag brands do you think won't survive the current economical and style market? If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this next one.